Welcome in to the new members and to the old members that have found their way back to the community. I need you just as much as you need me. If you're looking for an in-depth technical analysis, make sure to watch this morning's update. But I did need to come back on and do a second update here as we have some breaking news here in the last couple of hours, within the last hour and a half, 2 hours. Actually about the last hour or so. It's more heavily coming out to the public. But there's been the announcement that Ripple is to launch a US dollar stablecoin, taking on a $150 billion market dominated by Tether and Circle. So this is definitely a developing story here. So I wanted to bring the information. It has allowed XRP to bounce about 4.1%. It did go up about 6.4 up to about 61.4 cents. But as of right now, this has been nothing but a bearish bounce, only because unless we get above 62.2 cents, and I won't go deep into it because I want you to watch this morning's analysis, before this news came out and before this bounce happened, of what we were talking about, how first layer to get back over was 58.2 cents. And then once you get over this, we've got to come up and retake. I said 62.2 cents to get on top of that resistance area. So unless we retake that area, this would not be invalidating this drop unless we can stay in here and start pushing back up and then ultimately get back above here. So right now, our main concern is, obviously, we need to get over, we need to be up past 60, even at the lowest area, if we're looking at this, you want to be back above this area right here at 60.8 cents. So at worst, our first layer of resistance, we got to be over 68.8. Well, that's our second tier resistance because this morning we were under the 58 cent threshold and we got back above that. But now we haven't been able to stay above 60.8 cents. So that's going to be very important to stay above that level and ultimately get above 62.2 cents to try to invalidate and move down to 53.8 or ultimately down to 49.8, which is the handle support on the bullish cup and handle right now. So this could be our catalyst. We need to start bringing in some volume and to start pushing out of these ranges. So to get the full in-depth analysis, make sure you watch this morning update. But with XRP, so let's read a little bit of information real quickly here to get it up to the story. And please make sure to hit that like button so YouTube recommends this update. It's very important. Everybody who's invested in XRP, anybody who's interested in XRP, understands the developments each and every day. And this is a major development here, which is why I came back on to do a second update this morning. So please make sure to hit that like button so YouTube recommends this. It'll allow it to get around everybody. But this is not a FUD article. This is actually verified now. So Ripple to launch US dollar stablecoin, taking on a $150 billion market dominated by Tether and Circle. So let me do the intro real quick and then we'll get into the reading. So good morning, 10:36 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, April 4th, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So as we can see, we have a bit of breaking news here this morning, as Ripple is to launch a stablecoin, or an XRP-backed stablecoin. Well, we'll get into the reading. So blockchain firm Ripple said it's launching a US dollar stablecoin, marking an entry into the $150 billion stablecoin market. The move will pit Ripple against stablecoin giants Tether, which is behind the largest stablecoin USDT, and Circle, the issuer of USDC. Ripple is first launching its stablecoin in the US, but didn't rule out offering additional regional stablecoins in non-US markets like Europe and Asia. Crypto startup Ripple is the latest major player to jump into the $150 billion stablecoin market with the launch of a digital currency pegged to the US dollar. The stablecoin will always be backed one-to-one by an equivalent sum of assets, US dollar deposits, US government bonds, and cash equivalents that the company holds in reserves, according to Ripple. The crypto firm said its reserves will be accounted for in publicly available monthly attestation reports. It did not say which firm will audit. Ripple is first launching its stablecoin in the US, but didn't rule out offering additional regional products in non-US markets like Europe and Asia. The move would pit Ripple against giants like Tether, which is behind the largest stablecoin USDT, and USDC issuer of Circle. Payment Payments giant PayPal, meanwhile, launched its own US dollar stablecoin called PayPal USD. Nobody would buy that pile of horse shit. No offense to anybody who owns that. But let's be real here. PayPal's a pile of a horse garbage. If you own the PayPal USD stablecoin, if you want the likes of Luna and all that to happen with the UT Terra stablecoin, go ahead and continue holding PayPal. That's a pile of horse garbage. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, to be honest with you. U.S. dollars and dollar equivalents that is issued by cryptos firm Paxos. But Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse said he's not deterred by the competition. This market will look different in the future, certainly based on size. He told CNBC in an interview this week. Why Ripple's launching a stablecoin. Garlinghouse said that the company decided to introduce a stablecoin to the market last year in response to the depegging of rival firms Tether's USDT token and Circle's USDC. USDT temporarily lost its $1 peg in 2022 amid market instability, resulting from the collapse of Terra USD, a popular so-called algorithmic stablecoin. USDC also temporarily slipped below $1 in 2023 after revealing exposure to the collapsed tech-focused lender Silicon Valley Bank. Some critics dispute the source of Tether's reserves and have doubts about whether the company is sufficiently capitalized to survive a bank run. For its part, Tether says its token is fully backed by quality reserves and has always been able to meet withdrawals even in times of distress. That's only because Tether can print its own token as much as it wants, much like the US dollar continuously prints out of control through inflation and expanding the money supply, which causes the actual inflation. Tether does the same thing. It's not backed by dick, excuse my French. That's just the honest to God truth. It's no different. It's not. If you want to get the ones that's backed by government bonds and government funds, that's USDC. Garlinghouse said that there's some uncertainty about the current market leader among U.S. regulators. Without disclosing a name, he argued that Ripple is a regulated institution with licenses in New York, Ireland, Singapore, among other countries. So we'll watch what he said about Gary Gensler as well being a political liability, but I want to continue reading this real quick. Tether is the market leader for stablecoins with a market capitalization of $106.3 billion. According to CoinGecko data, the company was not immediately available for comment. Tether is registered with FinCEN, the U.S. financial crimes watchdog, which is not the same as being regulated. The business is required to submit suspicious transaction reports and reports for deals totaling more than $10,000. Not giving up on XRP. A Ripple stablecoin would also serve a purpose. The crypto giant touts a part of its on-demand liquidity product, which aims to settle transactions rapidly between banks and other financial firms using the XRP token as a bridge currency. Ripple has faced obstacles in finding a use case for Ripple with banks and payment firms. Santander initially wanted to use XRP for cross-border payments, but chose not to after finding Ripple wasn't active in enough markets yet to support its needs. MoneyGram ended a partnership to use XRP for cross-border payment or cross-border transfers after citing increased costs associated with the need for partnerships with exchanges and other necessary counterparties in local markets. Garlinghouse insisted that Ripple hasn't given up on XRP as a payment token and that stablecoins would serve as a more of a complementary product for the XRP ecosystem. We've been using stablecoins in our payment flows for years, he said. This is not a new thing for us. He added that other so-called Layer 1 protocols, blockchain networks with their own tokens, have launched stablecoins and logged growth in overall volume and liquidity. Our view is having pools of liquidity that are native to the XRP ledger. They complement and help grow the XRP ecosystem, Garlinghouse told CNBC. In fact, the number one request we get from XRP community is to launch a USD-backed stablecoin on the XRP ledger. XRP is up around 13%. Blah, 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 blah. Expecting SEC settlement 13% in the last 12 months, now that it's down to when it was at 57 cents. Expecting SEC settlement in the millions. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission in 2020 hit Ripple with a lawsuit, claiming the company illegally sold XRP to investors when it should have registered the transactions with the regulator. A court judge recently ruled XRP is not in and of itself a security, but said that sales to institutions should be counted as unlawful security sales. The blockchain company sold $728.9 million worth of its XRP token to hedge funds and other sophisticated buyers, according to the U.S. District Court from Southern District of New York. The SEC is seeking $2 billion from Ripple as part of its lawsuit. Garlinghouse said that what the SEC is asking for is unreasonable, as it only pertains to $728.9 million of XRP the company sold to institutions. He expects the settlement to be a fraction of that in millions rather than in billions of dollars. The SEC was not immediately available for contact. So that's a lot of stuff going on, but I want you to hear what he says about Gary Gensler. But first, I want to see if there was anything else we should touch base on here. So we already know that they're going to launch a stablecoin. So the company said the token, which is planned later this year, will be 100% backed by US dollar deposits. We already know all of this. So Ripple announcement comes as stablecoins have proven one of the most popular types of digital assets among crypto traders, free in theory from the price volatility witnessed in larger cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum's Ether. What we think is going to be the difference is going to be the fact that the asset are going to be in dollars, treasuries, rock solid. Ripple CTO David Schwartz told CoinDesk in an interview. We're not trying to juice the last couple of decimal points out of this. We're trying to conquer the market and be in it for long term. As for why Ripple, still battling an enforcement case brought by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, has decided to jump into the stablecoin game, Schwartz said that the decision in part came down to simple dollars and cents. Part of it, it's just opportunistic. It's a growing market, he said. You could be a bank that pays no interest. That seems like a pretty good business opportunity. Schwartz said the new stablecoin could also help breathe some life into the XRP ledger's decentralized finance ecosystem, which has a decentralized exchange but relatively low usage relative to other chains. According to Schwartz, transparency, historically a key point of scrutiny for stablecoin issuers, will be a key focus for Ripple as it rolls out its new token. We're going to have public audits on a monthly basis, hopefully, by a top-tier accounting firm, and we'll disclose more on that later, said Schwartz. We're aiming for complete transparency. We'll do whatever we need to do to address those issues. Beyond the promise of transparency, Schwartz emphasized that the potential growth of the stablecoin market, currently dominated by Tether's USDT token and Circle's USDC, serves as a distinctive for Ripple or any other company or any other stablecoin provider to act dishonestly. Coinbase, the publicly traded U.S. crypto exchange, is an investor in Circle. In the early days of Tether, people were expecting it to blow up any day, and they felt like in the early days of Tether, people were expecting it to blow up any day, and they felt like it was really sketchy, said Schwartz. But now if you're Tether, it wouldn't make sense for you to run off with people's money, said Schwartz. Even if that was your plan, you'd wait to do it because the market is only growing. In Ripple's case, we're not trying to squeeze a couple of extra pennies out. We don't need to, said Schwartz. Our balance sheet is rock solid. The Ripple CTO said his token will be aimed primarily at enterprise customers and banking institutions, organizations for whom those kinds of practical arguments aren't really present, because they have to justify their decisions to stockholders and to regulators and so on. To satisfy the needs of this market segment, Ripple says it is using U.S. banks to hold its reserves, and it is taking what it terms a compliance-first mindset. USDC is currently the market leader among compliance-oriented stablecoins consumers, but Schwartz said he doesn't see it as a winner-takes-all environment. If we were a solid number 3 and the market grows 12x, that's not a failure scenario, said Schwartz. Obviously, we would like to do better than that, but that's not a failure case. That's still pretty gosh darn good. So that's some of the stuff going on. So it's pretty interesting that they're going to launch a stablecoin. And it's going to be on the XRP ledger, obviously. but it's going to compete with USDT and USDC. It's supposed to be later this year. It's a $150 billion market. It's considered an emerging market because in the next couple of years, it's supposed to balloon to over 1.2 trillion supposedly. But we'll see if that actually plays out in the years to come. I don't really see anything else in regards to this that we didn't touch on. Ripple did put out a statement, I believe. Let's see. I believe Ripple Labs put out a little statement as well. Well, not Ripple Labs, but Ripple. So Ripple says, let's bring this up just so we can see what Ripple said, and then we're going to watch that video, and then I'll release this. So Ripple said 1 hour ago, the stablecoin market is booming around 150 billion today and projected to soar past 2.8 trillion. Look at that by 2028. There is a clear demand for trustability and utility. That's why later this year we're launching a stablecoin pegged 1-to-1 to the USD on the XRP ledger and Ethereum. This victory, oh no, that's what they put on their official Ripple page. So that's interesting. It's the first thing they've posted since their little victory last July. So that's from the official Ripple X page, formerly known as Twitter. So as you can see, they've actually commented about this. So it's more than just news being perpetrated. We've heard from Brad Garlinghouse. We've heard from David Schwartz, or at least read from what they've said. So we can see what's going on here. This is more than just a FUD story. This is something that's going on. XRP's bounced 4.18% on the news. Remember, we need to stay over first area's 58 cents. Big resistance here. We need to push over 60.8 cents and ultimately 62.2 cents to start pushing up. And then if we can get over 66 cents, we can start to break up towards that 74. So make sure you watch the earlier technical analysis this morning if you want to see more on the technicals outside of just what we talked about here with the breaking news. And again, the breaking news is here that Ripple is looking to launch a US dollar-backed stablecoin to compete with USDT, which is Tether, and USDC, which is Circle, to get into the stablecoin market and to get out in front of a supposedly emerging market here. By 2028, it's going to be $2.8 trillion market. Right now, it's only a $150 billion market, so getting out ahead of that is definitely a pretty smart thing to do, but we'll see what the implications are as far as what that means for XRP and things like that. It certainly seems like the world, the World Bank was announcing that XRP is a stable coin. If that was the case and they were going to use it as a stable coin, you would suspect they wouldn't be putting another stable coin on the XRP ledger. So is there something further to read into this? Is there something more that we don't see? Only time will tell. Please make sure to hit that like button so YouTube recommends this update. And if you made it until the end, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and type in the chat, hashtag be better, do better. I'm going to let you watch this and then I'm going to leave.
Last call. There's an expression about, one of the definitions of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and not expecting a different outcome. I think Gary Gensler is doing the same thing over and over again, and it thinks that somehow he's going to win in court. He has continued to lose in court. I do think the chair of the SEC, Gary Gensler, has become a political liability in the United States. And I think he's not acting in the best interest of the citizenry. He's not acting in the best interest of the long-term growth of the economy. I don't understand it. And I think at some point, there will be a new chair of the SEC, and I think that'll be a good thing for the American people.
There were a couple of interesting things after that Bitcoin ETF was approved in that statement. One, and I paraphrase here, was effectively Gary Gensler saying, just because we allowed the Bitcoin ETF, don't think we're now going to allow a bunch of other crypto assets. The second interesting thing was the price of Ether skyrocketed immediately after on hopes that there could now next be an ETH ETF. What are the chances of that?
I think it's a certainty. I think
this year?
I'm not going to put a horizon of the time, but I think there will be other ETFs for sure.
An XRP one?
There will be other ETFs for sure.
but an XRP one?
I love this game we play. Look, I am very
That's the last time I lost.
That's fine. But look, the sad part of that reality is we have a Bitcoin ETF only because a U.S. court said to the SEC, You're being arbitrary and capricious in your application of the law. What would be sad is if every ETF had to go through that same journey and for Gary Gensler to get smacked down by the U.S. court system again. That might be necessary, but again, at some point, I think Gary Gensler won't be the chair of the SEC, and that'll be a good thing for the American people.